This is a normal sized benchy, and this is a 7% scaled one. We're just getting started. Hey, I'm Tommy, and I've never printed with a nozzle smaller than the standard 0.4mm. I've daily driven a 0.6, purchased a 0.5, but I've never tried a 0.2, let alone a 0.1. I want to change that today, so I've put together a shopping list of 4 items: a filament filter, a V6 adapter for the Extruder, and the nozzles themselves, one of each kind, so once they clog, it's kind of game over. I like to live dangerously, although at $2 I probably should have grabbed a cleaning needle. My machine of choice will be the Prusa Core 1L, and the hidden star of the show, this third-party Extruder adapter, means we can install these nice and sharp mellow nozzles and take advantage of the Extruder and the load cell leveling. Trust is a big one here, and since most of my other machines don't tick all the boxes at once, especially this one, and because I owe Prusa, of course, the setup is locked and loaded. Let's get to installing. One final note before we move on, this video contains support from PCBWay. First up, I'm drying my chosen filaments to eliminate moisture, and then I'm removing the Fatus silicon carbide nozzle we installed last time. It took me long enough to realize that silicone and silicon are two separate things. Now, the aforementioned V6 adapter, which I got on AliExpress for a little over $5 US. It seems decently well made. Alright, I guess I should add some of this, without repeating what happened last time. Okay, nice and slow. Wonderful. Now the nozzle itself. Actually a bit nervous. I'm optimistic, but I do expect this to clog. Not sure what I was thinking, but this is the only spot we can install this. Better than nothing. It was in fact not better than nothing. Filament sensors are disabled because I don't want this machine inserting the filament at breakneck speeds. Also, I modified the purge line G-code because that would have been bad. I'm just slowly doing 1mm increments of filament. No! Yes! Okay, let's start the print. And apparently this will only take 8 minutes. I'm abnormally nervous. Okay, that looks beautiful. Never mind. Oh my. It's almost too fast as well. It's actually a bit too small in a way. There's just something about that first layer. Can I even get the scale? I mean, here's my finger. I mean, it's that's so. The boat is absolutely minuscule. Oh, it failed again. Ah. I'm going to try the slightly larger one. Now's a good time to talk about settings, as I'm actually running things a bit differently. There are 3 temps on screen, with the latter 2 being ones I'm familiar with, but almost all of these PLA prints used a 180-degree hot end temperature. This is ironic, as I thought I should be keeping things on the hotter side, but no, with the material remaining in the melt zone for longer, a lower temp is not only feasible, but apparently ideal. Stefan also used 180 degrees in his small nozzle video, which is why I am too. Most of my settings are similar, and I'll put them on screen. I'm sure they could have been tuned even more, but hey, they work first try, except for the lack of brim. I think that's retraction over wet filament. I'm being pretty greedy here. Fantastic. We have our first successful print, standing at below a centimeter in height, 9.6mm to be precise, at 20% total scale. It took about an hour, and honestly, it looks really, really good. With confidence back in the tank and a friend visiting, we're halving the scale and trying a 10% one now, with a brim just to be safe. Tweezers. Wait, let me put the... No. The 20% was already something, but the 10%, which I used for one of this video's thumbnails, is like the first real wake-up call that we're really printing with a smaller nozzle. There's a tiny bit of stringing, which I'm sure could be ironed out, but I have priorities, so let's move on to a mechanical part, as I have some experimental plans I'd like to try. I was a bit curious about the supports printing successfully. They look to be doing alright so far. If this part looks a little bit too familiar, that's because it's a printed version of the drive gear from my smallest extruder video. I want to see if small nozzles can produce fine parts that are better than the flawed ones I made during that video. I have a slight hunch that a perfectly concentric compound gear will do better than an accidental eccentric multi-piece one, but we'll see soon enough. Oh, and while we're at it, I should probably be honest, this video is just an excuse for me to print really small gears. I was pretty curious about this part, but hey, it's looking like it's going to be alright. I mean, it's only going to be plastic, but it's doing it. That experimental tag comes into play again here, as the teeth, or whatever they're called on the compound gear, are of course made of plastic and are inherently softer than even the brass prototype, so whether it works or not for gripping the filament is a matter of trial. Also, here are some more gears, one of which appears on this video's other two thumbnails. While standalone rather useless, these are some of my favourite prints so far, as the teeth turned out surprisingly good. It just does not cease to amaze me. With the white filament still loaded, I wanted to try something a little bit crazy. A 10% scaled VoronCube with a layer height of 0.02mm, 10 times thinner than the 0.2mm many of us, including myself, use quite often. It's actually pushing my camera gear to its limits, as I can barely show the layers no matter what I do. I should have printed it in grey. It's really something, and even if it's pointless, it's pretty cool. Switching to some very old generic red PLA that somehow worked, I printed out a 15% VoronCube and a 12% scaled Stealthburner to accompany it. Printing scaled models using the intended colours is something I find exceptionally neat. Now using gold PLA, I'm printing something that fits into the jewellery category, the One Ring. I'm very curious about how some of the fine text will come out. This is a pretty neat one. Probably the most realistic use case. I mean, printing out the One Ring. It turned out absolutely flawless. That is amazing. Those first layers just don't get old. It's so good. The Autodesk FDM torture test is a classic, and I can't resist printing it when I have the chance. That being said, there are lots of more modern options available nowadays, but I'm biased and like my familiarity. Yeah, it can't do any more. Compared to its usual scale, this turned out quite fun. I might have. Dismissing my fumble with some super glue, the overhangs did turn out nicely, as did the bridging, and while I did try to test the tolerances, the pins snapped, so technically and ultimately, it's a fail on that end. Now, we've had a few wins, so it's time to try a sub 10% scale benchy. Bonus points for it being a sub 10 minute one as well. I've adjusted my settings to include a brim, so there's nothing left to do except press print. While I might be able to achieve a benchy that's 1 or 2% smaller, at this point it's already hard to film, let alone manage the print without destroying it. Even using my tweezers carefully, I managed to shear the model in half. I was 50-50 on whether the print would be extremely resistant or extremely fragile, and it seems my question has been answered. Now to answer a quick call from PCBWay. I'd like to talk about the sponsor of this video, PCBWay. your one-stop shop for manufacturing services. It's actually their 12th anniversary, so with lots of discounts up for grabs alongside some mini games, there's no better time to check them out. I had quite a lot of fun with their color debug challenge, but there's also a lucky draw, which is always neat. There are lower starting prices for their manufacturing services, and if you place an order during the event with any of the 3 special solder mask colors, once approved, the color is free courtesy of PCBWay. There is a whole lot more going on with this event, so make sure to check it out with the link below, and thank you PCBWay for supporting this video. Now, aside from the hiccups at the very start, I've been pretty lucky with these prints, almost as if I'm being compensated. Still, I did run into failures which I'd like to share. Prusa's rocket engine, for example, even with Prusa, failed several times, with the first cause being adhesion, and the second being, well, actually I'm not too sure. Maybe cooling, but I do not know.
Unfortunately, this model is just not possible.
I even had a VoronCube fail despite using a brim, which was surprising, and finally I realised something amusing. I apologise for taking this long to realise that this was doing nothing. It's now time for the 0.2mm nozzle, and while I could have started the video with it, we all wanted to see what the 0.1 could do, but don't worry, that nozzle will return. Well, this is already extruding a lot easier than the 0.1. A nice little warm up. Compared to the 0.1, that is printing so much faster. Wow, I'm not used to that. Oh, you can even see the threads, that's so cool. Unfortunately, none of the M3 bolts worked, which was a real shame. Or the nuts. Yeah.
With how well defined they were as well, I mean, that looks almost resin printed. I just thought it would be flawless. Probably an incorrect setting on my part. They at least look the part, which is cool.
Another practical but honestly kind of funny print are these JST connectors, and they actually turned out really well. If I put 2 real ones in my hand alongside the printed ones, can you tell which is which? I had to leave a memo in the video clip showing it was, spoilers, the top 2, as I don't think I would have remembered otherwise. I'm not in a pinch for any connectors though, but the possibility is still cool. Given the practicality of the previous prints, I wanted to try something stupid, and yeah, it went as well as expected. The printed rail worked as good as the carriage holder, which isn't a compliment, so we'll move on before I try again. A quick test of the Orbiter 2.0 extruder gears, but both nozzles didn't give me the results I wanted. I do not know why, so if anyone has any pointers, I'm all ears. Finishing off with the 0.2mm nozzle, we now have all of the parts required to build a fully printed version of my NEMA 8 extruder. I've touched up the design a little bit, but rather than calling it a Mark II like I do shortly, it's a Mark 1.5 at best, not that I've truly tested it. I'm completely incapable of designing something functional of this scale and caliber, so we'll see if printing the parts translates to fewer failure points compared to machining every part, and therefore gives me a higher chance of success. I have high hopes, but there are still a lot of factors at play here. The big gear is holding on for dear life. I've printed it way too weak. I genuinely thought it was just going to be assembling a few pieces, trying to match up. I think it's been 2 hours I've been building this thing. Wow. DFA, or Design for Assembly, is important for a reason, and once again I've had the reason shoved in my face as a reminder. We got there in the end, but halfway through I did have my doubts. Okay, let's give this a go. Sending the command. Yeah! Beautiful. A lot better than before, that's for sure. I'm curious to see if the slightly improved filament path will make a difference. Design oversight, the filament path is way too thin. And it collides with the arm. However, the question is, No way, even with the plastic gear. That's wicked. This is what version 1.0 should have been. All we need now is a version 3. I just left the room to go get my dad to show him, and now I can't connect to the printer, so we'll move on. One final note on the extruder, since we might not see it again, is the print artifacting is terribly prominent at this scale and layer height. Maybe I can tune it out, but again, at this scale, it's not too big of a deal. That brings us to the end of the video and my play around with 0.1 and 0.2mm nozzles, and takes us just before the starting line of my next video, all of my tools all at once. Thanks to the V6 adapter, we can actually save some time on that video already by installing the fanciest nozzle I own. It's a 0.6mm CHT nickel-plated copper body polycrystalline diamond tip nozzle from Triangle Lab that I bought over a year ago, with the caveat in this scenario being that it's a V6 nozzle and the Core 1L of course uses an Extruder nozzles. As mentioned, we solved this with the V6 adapter, so now we can put that larger nozzle diameter and CHT geometry to use, printing out the several dozen parts needed for next time. That's going to save us quite a few hours. Thank you for giving me your time this time, and as always, hopefully I'll see you again soon.